Welcome to the syndicate, where real estate wholesaling is what the business is. Ain't gotta talk about it when you out here living it. So if you out here getting it, then welcome to the syndicate. Welcome to the syndicate.
Today, we're having a great conversation with Frank and Cecilia Tovar over at Inspired Buyers. I named this one How to Operate a Wholesaling Biz because I think they're some of the best operators and integrators I know in the wholesaling space. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us, man. I really appreciate it. You've done a lot of things, not only here in San Antonio, but across the nation as well. So a lot of kudos to you because you've said what you wanted to do and you've done it, man. So great job, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, and I've wanted to get you on. I think one of the first podcast guests, not first one, one of the early podcast guests I had was Mike. And a lot of questions I asked, he's like, oh, that's a Frank question. That's a Frank question. And I'm like, oh, Frank handles all that. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, well, I'd love to get Frank on the podcast. He's like, well, you definitely should. And I think that was like a year and a half ago now, and we're finally doing it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, always elusive. And of course, I can't do anything that I do without the person that has always been pushing me, right? Cecilia's a big piece of it. I call her the fulcrum, right? The lever, the big piece component of what we do here locally in our office is Cecilia does a lot of that. So Mike has me and I have Cecilia, and together the three of us make a really solid team.
I love that. Big three. But so if for anyone who might not know who you guys are yet, or they're just tuning in or just new to wholesaling in general, do you guys want to give a quick introduction on who you are and what you guys do respectively?
Yeah, I'll let Cecilia go first.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Cecilia Tovar. I am the transaction coordinator for Inspired Buyers. So like Frank was saying, I do kind of take care of a little bit of everything from the beginning of the contract to the end of the contract. So any title work, anything that needs to get done with the sellers and buyers, all that good stuff. So that's my main role.
So she's being a little humble there, right? So her real role is to keep us in place and in check, right? So she's the big mama bear of the office, right? Some call her the aunt or the I don't know, but she's still dealing with that, right? But what she does for us here is she keeps our head from going off of a swivel, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she handles the transaction from the A to B and the B to C side, right? Because we cannot marry both sides of that without her. People do outsource TC work and that works for them. But for us, because we like to be so intimate with our files, Cecilia does a real great job of maintaining the relationships that we have with our partners from title companies and then of course our sellers. And then she even handles the buyer side of it too, right? She has those conversations. And then to go even further, sometimes we talk to our hard money lenders and things like that. So she's very well versed in what it is that we do here. But more importantly, she's really well versed on what wholesaling is and how to actually get a deal from start to finish. And that's why I say she's a very integral part of what we do. So, and then the other superpower, well, she has a few superpowers. Let me tell you the first one. The first one is that she keeps us accountable, right? Because we run off of EOS here, right? Traction. You all read that book. And so she's like, hey, that is not in line with what we're having as far as our vision. And so she always keeps us on point for that. So that's one. Two, yeah, she can clear files, but more importantly, all those dirty, stinky files that come with some dirty, stinky houses, she knows how to clear them, right? Affidavits of heirship, big ones, MERP. I don't want to give everything away because I want her to speak on them. But she knows how to get all those trouble and problem files. She knows how to clear them. Why? Because she's been working hand in hand with Mike for the last, feels like almost a decade now. And of course, we all know that Mike is an expert. Did I lose my light? That's fine. We know that Mike's an expert in doing all of that. And so he's transplanted that knowledge into her. So Cecilia knows that. Now, one of her big superpowers combined with us is that we know how to throw big, major, mega events, right? And so a lot of people do seek out our counsel behind the scenes because we've been through it all. We've been training ourselves and getting a lot of knowledge to get help in learning how to run the logistics of the event. So Cecilia's really good at that. When it comes to the day of event stuff, I just get out of her way. I let her do her thing. She shines. I kind of stay in the back, but that's one of her ultimate superpowers.
I love that. Yeah, I mean that's also vital and so important. Those are a lot of things people don't think about too, especially or don't even talk about, I guess, because it's kind of it's not as flashy, I guess, as closing deals or some of the other stuff, but it's like what really gets deals done. And I think a lot of new wholesalers make the mistake of just, they get a deal and they're like, cool, I got it, perfect, buyer's there or whatever, and then they just don't talk to anybody the whole time, and then they're like wondering why the deal falls apart. And nobody knows what's going on. And, the seller is like, oh, I thought we weren't doing it because I hadn't heard from anybody the whole time. And it's really like, I think it's your job. Like, I think you get to take full ownership, and like, it's so important to do to like make sure you're getting that deal to the finish line. And like, it's your job to kind of manage everyone. It's probably the hardest part of the job, at least on some deals. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it definitely can be.
Yeah, it really is. And then, secret note, little tidbit is we're teaching her how to do price reductions too. So
nice.
She'll be doing that here pretty soon. Because in all honesty, and I'm going to turn to life here again, in all honesty, a woman's touch, a female's touch, honestly, in my opinion, you need a woman's touch. You need a female's perspective to get the job done, right? That's what makes you high so successful, is that you have that woman's insight. Any company, anybody that's doing business should have a female, whether integrator, partner, or something like that, just because they think a lot more.
Yeah.
For those that don't know who I am, I've been successfully running behind the scenes. I say successfully is by nature, I'm an introvert. Once you see me out there, you couldn't tell, but I successfully stay behind the scenes to what Mike has been doing and allowing him to build his empire while I'm building my own. And so what I do is I'm an integrator. My official role is COO. What does that really mean? That just means I get ish done, right? And so my job here is just to make sure that, one, we have good lead flow, systems in place that the team needs. And the biggest part of it is the accountability that goes into delivering results, right? Because if he's in it, we're in it to make money. This is a business, so we got to treat everything that we do as a business. Yeah, we have fun, and that's one of my key components here, is to have fun what we're doing. At the same time, just keep everything organized, keep it centralized, but more than anything, just keep it streaming and flowing.
I love that. Yeah, no, I think honestly, you guys, you're speaking at the event. I'm super excited. Literally 2 days out. What's today? Thursday? Yeah, I've been busy.
Yeah, your lineup is amazing, dude. Yeah,
Thank
people
you.
Coming from everywhere. I've seen a lot of people sharing on social media. They're coming from, I don't know, man. It feels like overseas sometimes. And so I'm excited to see what you're going to do. I saw the venue, and man, that's a nice venue. Plenty of parking. I think that's one of the biggest things, right? So plenty of parking there. The layout looks fantastic. I think you're going to have a really successful event.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think, it's been crazy to see how far our events have come in a short time. And I think, a big part of it is because you guys have always been there to, give advice and have questions. And, I feel like everyone's gotten a little bit better, and it's just been invaluable because you guys have done such big events, and, being able to kind of, it's like, cut down me making the mistakes time and just learning, from what you guys have done has been huge. And I definitely appreciate you guys. It's been a huge help. Yeah, I know one of the cool things about the lineup too is the thing, like, we definitely have some great names, some big names there too, but a lot of the people that know and are in the industry, and the other speakers have mentioned, they're super excited that you guys are coming, and they're super excited some other people are coming. It's like, wow, these are like the people that are like really in it, really know, like the operators behind the scenes that like people don't always see, but the ones that make it possible for you, to have companies like Inspired Buyers and other companies that are doing a bunch of deals every month. And I think it's just not really talked about at events. And I think it's going to be huge. And I think, really there's so much value in what you guys do, what you have to offer, and so much knowledge you guys have. And you guys are great at explaining it. And I know I've gotten a bunch of great stuff from you guys. What are some of the tips that you guys have or what do you guys see out there for as far as operating a business that newer wholesalers are making, or people that, trying to grow to a small team?
Yeah, so the biggest thing, I think the biggest hiccup that I see is people just say, you know what, I feel like being a wholesaler today. I saw something on YouTube, and I think I can do that. I think I can call somebody, find the address, find a phone number, and then just call them and make an offer. but that's as far as they go. They don't treat it as a business. They treat it as a side hustle, right? Side hustles are cool. Don't get me wrong. I have, plenty of opportunities, plenty of what do you call it, lines in the water, because you'll never know what hits. But you have to have a clear vision. And so a lot of these individuals that are coming in, I think Cecilia had a walk in.
Oh, I should.
Off here in a minute.
Nice.
What's it called? A lot of these operators, they just get in it to make money. That's cool. That's great. Do it. But at some point, we have to graduate and have processes documented. One, right? Two, more importantly, have a clear vision up front. Why are we doing this? Right? What are we doing? Why are we going to make money? Why are we going to help people sell the property? How are we going to empower people that buy the property? All those things that make a company a what's it called, an organic machine, right? So that's one of the biggest things. What about you, Cecilia? What do you see?
For somebody starting out, I think I guess in my opinion would be like stay super organized. It's super easy to just like chase that shiny object and then forget what that process was supposed to be like. So like Frank was saying, it's so easy to see a YouTube video and just be like, okay, I can do that because he can do it, so I can do it too, because everybody says that. If I could do it, you could do it too, right? So it's super easy to get started, but then you get lost in the sauce, right? So just stay super organized, ask all the questions, know who you're talking to, figure out what you're talking about, because sometimes you don't understand what all these terms mean. And when we go to meetings or do whatever, I always date my notes. Just date it, because you never know how long you've had this sitting on your lap, and then you're like, oh snap, I didn't go back to that. So just stay super organized, take lots of notes.
I love that. No, that's huge. I don't know how, there's like a lot of people I talk to, newer wholesalers, and they're getting some deals done. But like, I just don't know how, because they're not organized. They don't have a system or CRM. They're just using Google Sheets and they're like spending a bunch of money in marketing, and I don't know. It's like, sounds like chaos to me. And like, it's like, I'm not organized, so I have to like force myself to do those things. That's why I'm like big in CRM and automations and using AI, just because I'm awful at it. I'm like the most disorganized person I know. But yeah, you're so right. Like, being organized is like really what turns it into a business. And like, it's, when you're talking to so many people, you start to mix up conversations, and it's impossible to keep it all in your head. So being organized is definitely key to making it a real business.
Yeah, you're right. A great CRM is something that everybody needs in their tool belt. And because you're right, you can't keep it in your head, man. I tell my guys, my team, guys and girls here, that if you keep it in your head, we're going to lose money, right? So you got to put it somewhere. And Cecilia hit around the head. Everybody that comes into here, one of the first skills I teach them is, if you're going to sit down with me and I'm going to take the time to explain things, you're going to take notes. And so I know if somebody sat in front of you, Kai, you would like for somebody to take notes of what you're saying, because that would make your words feel important. Not that you need the ego stroke, but know that they're actually making a concentrated effort to hold that information within their brain, right? So anybody who sits in front of me, if they're going to be on the team especially, I tell them, hey man, take some notes, dude, because I'm about to give you about, over 3 decades of knowledge real quick.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I feel like it's a great way to make someone feel heard too. I'm like, oh, this person's actually listening. And like, I feel like the worst thing for me is, if someone asks for advice or help on something, and they just like, I tell them, my advice, and like, I've gone through it, and like, I know it's going to help them, and they just don't take action on it, or they don't do it. It's like, it sucks. But on the flip side, it's like, it happens more often than not that way. But like, when someone actually does, like, I'm like, oh, this is great. And I want to keep helping them, because I see they're actually, action takers and going to follow that advice.
Exactly.
But so one of the other cool things you guys have done is like you built a really cool team. You have some great people underneath you that you guys have built up. Like Steve comes to mind. He's literally the Dispo King, won the closest competition for disposition. How have you guys attracted and kept and found such great talent? Like you have so many other team members I could mention too. But what's been the secret to that for you guys?
You get on your knees, put your hands like this, and pray. No, kidding. So, of course, the messaging, right? There's marketing. We're all marketing machines. If everybody thinks that we're in real estate as wholesalers, they're wrong. what we are doing is we're marketing and sales. And so our message that we're marketing out there through Mike's channel, right? Through Mike's influence, his sphere, is that, yeah, you can achieve the level of success he has if you do what he does, right? Which is just grind it out, hustle 24/7, learn the skill, learn your craft, master it. So that's one thing, right? We're selling the goal, we're selling the vision, right? Once they sit with me, then we're having a transparent conversation. I ask them questions about who they are, what's going on between their ears. I ask questions about faith, whether that's right or wrong, right? Because that's who I am. And of course, you want to be surrounded with like-minded individuals. And then 2 or 4, I give them a task to complete. This task that I complete, I probably shouldn't say this out here because now everybody knows, but I give them a task. If they don't complete that task within X amount of time, then I know they're not the action takers that I want on my team. After that, then we sit down, they sit with my team, they ask them all these transparent questions, they get to know them, I get to know them a little bit better. And if we get that good feeling, because you got to go with your gut on a lot of this, right? There's no real data to say, hey, tell me your experience on what kind of a wholesaler you were, and what do you see yourself in 5 years in wholesaling? That stuff's not real. You want to get to know them as a real person, go with your gut, give them a task, have them sit down and interview with the team, make sure they gel with you, and then, of course, them.
That's huge. Yeah, it's definitely one of my weakest points. I remember at dinner the other day, and that's all I wanted to know because I still struggle with it. I just had to let go an employee yesterday, and then I'm always like coaching time. I'm like, oh, they're going to turn around, they're going to do great, and it's like they literally in the first couple of weeks they gave me like 7 different excuses on, there was emergencies, like 7 different emergencies, and like they got crazier and crazier. It went from, my computer's not working today to, I got in a crazy motorcycle accident. I'm barely able to lift my fingers to type you this message that I can't come in. And I'm like, and I logged in and I removed them from everything. And I'm like, okay, I got to take them out. They have access to a lot of my stuff. And I come to find out they never even logged into some of it or did some of it. And I'm like, well, I definitely should have done that a lot faster.
There's definitely a lot of tire kickers in this industry, and it's definitely a challenge, right? At one point, I toyed with charging people because it was just so exhausting until I figured out this method. Within 2 weeks, I know if they're going to make it or not. I'd say recently, within the last 2-3 months, I've cycled through about maybe 2 individuals that I just knew that they were not going to make it, and so we had that conversation. And I'm okay having those conversations face to face. I prefer them to have them face to face. That way I can tell them, hey, man, I did my part. You didn't do your part. This is not the right time. I don't make them feel like crap, but I tell them, hey, there's a lot more to this, and I wish you luck and all this other good stuff. And then there's an opportunity for coaching here. I hope you'll take this. So the opportunity for coaching here is it's not that you have a weakness. It's that it's something that you haven't had the opportunity to strengthen fully yet, right? It's just information that you don't have, or the experience that you're just wanting to go through. So all those excuses, you and I could write a book and have like 1,000 excuses, and they're all going to be the same. I literally heard the same excuse of, hey, I was in a motorcycle accident. I can't lift my fingers. I made the guy send me a picture, right, Cecilia? Mm-hmm. I made the guy send me a picture. Show me a picture. Show me the stitches. And he did, and I felt like a jerk. But it's this. Remember, this is your business, right? When people, it's not that we need people, it's that we want people so we can scale up. At the same time, you're giving them value by giving them the leads, giving them the systems, the CRM, the AI, your knowledge, the connections. You're giving all of that to them. So of course you're going to have expectations. Of course you're going to have requirements. Of course you can put these things on them because you're giving them you. It's your business. So you get to say, yeah, I like this type of person, or no, you're not going to jive with me.
I love that. That's super helpful. Is there like a ratio or like for like X amount of people you bring in, X amount end up staying or work out?
I never track that, to be honest. I'd say my gut is pretty good. Mm-hmm. That's one of those things I don't track. I can say this though, for a campaign, when we're like, I'm gonna initiate a campaign. If anybody wants to join one of the most poppin' real estate investment groups, organizations here in San Antonio locally, you have to be in office. We do meet Monday through Friday. We're here 9 o'clock meetings. all the way till 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock later. I have unlimited leads. I have too many leads. I'm saying that to say this. I'll put out that message because that's a real message. It's going to go out probably this week or next week. And I'll maybe get 50 to 60 people that message us. They go through the Google form, go through the motions. I look at it. I see what the markers I'm looking for. I'll call, me personally, I will call maybe 10 to 15 of those individuals. Those 10 to 15 individuals that I called, will probably have 5 to 6 interviews. Maybe I'll get one, but not likely. I don't always get somebody from each campaign that we run.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. Like I said, I don't know the numbers, but you know all the numbers, just like that. but no, that's huge. No, I think it's good to know that you do have to go through people, and then switch gears. And definitely want to get back to more hiring and scaling. But Cecilia, how often? Like, so when you sounds like you're dealing with both sides, people getting once the deals are there, and you're managing expectations with everyone. How often do you follow up with like the sellers and the buyers and title? How frequently should people do that? What's too much? What's not enough? Is there like a process you have for that?
A process, well, for me, I look at my files daily. So I have a list of everything that I have active, right? So I always begin with what I have assigned. Those are my priority every single morning. So if something is assigned, I definitely need to get those cleared ASAP. So those are my follow-ups daily with the title companies. If I'm pending anything with a seller, then I'm calling sellers, so depending on whose court the ball is in, that's who I'm calling. And it'll be daily until that issue gets resolved, and then I move on to the next one, right? Mm-hmm. So once my assigned ones are clear, then obviously I'm getting the clear to close and I'm closing them. For the other files, that take me a little bit longer because obviously some title issues take, weeks, months sometimes, because I'm dealing with one that has 11 affidavits of heirship, and there's so many people that you just cannot find. And they're like, well, maybe he had a son. I don't know. And it's like the obituary said he had 3 sons. And it's like, oh, goodness. So we have to find all these people, right? So those take time. They take a lot of research, but I do touch on it every single day. I call the title company, hey, did you guys get anything on your end? And so we're both working it on both ends. Whatever they can do through the county, whatever I can do through the seller, and vice versa, right? So I also have the seller talk to the title company. So we tackle it in every direction. That way we don't leave any stone unturned. Does that make sense? So 100%. I literally do touch every single file every single day. And if I know for a fact that I got an update from a title company late at night, sometimes they work a little late for me. I won't bug them too much because I don't want to be overwhelming as well. I'll give them a day sometimes, but for the most part, every day I'm following up.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, I think, a lot of people don't, and you just don't know, and you're surprised. People get surprised at the last minute, like, oh, why are we not on track to close? And why are you just finding out now? I mean, if people take ownership and make sure they're following up and stay on top of it, it just completely changes the whole dynamic. So with the messy title deal, 11 F, that sounds so overwhelming. I've had just ones with 3 that were, 2 of them are on board, and then one's not, and one's back in, and then it's just it's so frustrating for me. Do you guys have a cutoff, we're not going to make enough that it's worth our time to jump through all these hoops? Or how do you guys look at those messy title deals to see what's worth it?
It can be. And sometimes Frank is like, stop working it. It's not worth it. It's taking up too much of your time. But I become attached. So I was literally even touching it this morning. I was looking up some information this morning on that one file, and I become attached. And so at this point, I'm almost doing it for the seller to help her move forward, move on with her life, because she's had this problem for so long. And so it takes me a while, but it doesn't take up too much of my day anymore because I'm able to delegate some of those tasks as well. So the really cool thing about being part of a team is that we're all working it together. So one of the guys, the acquisitions guys, it's also their job to help me clear title for their file, right? So I'm not doing this mostly on my own. We're doing it together. So it does become a little tedious, but that's what a team is for, right?
Yeah, 100%. And sorry, guys, we are taking questions. Someone on Instagram just asked, are we doing? Yeah, you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And again, if you guys haven't got your tickets yet, make sure to get them. Go to freewholesalinglive.com. I'll leave that up for you guys. They're going to be there. We're going to be doing a Q&A panel with them as well, so you'll be able to ask them in person. But yeah, if you guys have questions now, feel free to drop them. We'll get them answered for you. But no, that's super helpful. I really appreciate it. Frank, one of the big questions I know everyone always asks, everyone's afraid of in the back of their mind is what happens, if I hire someone, I go through all the steps, I find the right person, I train them up, and then they just leave and go start their own thing. What do you say to that for people? And then how have you managed to keep some of the great employees that you guys have?
Yeah, I used the old breakup analogy, right? If they were meant to be, they'll come back if you let them go and all that good stuff, right? So it's a poor analogy, but it's really true. If you're doing it with the fear of somebody's going to take my stuff and start their own, then don't do it. But if you're doing it from this perspective of, hey, I'm going to help this person on their journey, because that's what we're all about, right? In this world, in this life, is there's enough value to be exchanged during that interaction, right? So whether they're with me for 6 months, a year, Steve's been with us for 4 years, Cecilia's been with us for 5 years, Julian's been with us since he was 16, right? We do this because we're exchanging value. If you give unlimited value, well, will they go somewhere else to do that? Maybe. Will they go and do it with my blessing? Absolutely. I always tell everybody, this is one of the first things I tell everybody when we're sitting down face to face. Hey, man, hey, miss, we're going to do this thing. And for as long as you're here, my only job is to make you better than when you stepped foot into here today. By the time you leave, whether that's long or short, you have to be a better individual, a better person, right? During that time, you and I are going to make some money. And that's the exchange of value. I tell them straight up, you and I are going to make some money. I'm going to benefit from your efforts, and you're going to benefit from my knowledge and my system. So you have to do it. And I mean, anybody, if you thought that, or if people thought that in business, then nobody would hire anybody, right? If McDonald's, right? Let's break it down. If McDonald's had that fear, oh, well, somebody's going to take my blueprint, because they literally give them a blueprint on how to print money. McDonald's an ATM machine, right? Well, they wouldn't hire anybody, because somebody can take that same blueprint and go open up their own chain. Yeah, they need brand recognition, marketing, and all that stuff, but that could happen in any industry, in any business. So if you're thinking that's a limited mindset, that's a lacking mindset, you just got to get yourself away from that. What happens if you don't pour into that person? What's all that missed opportunity? What if they find you a big old well of a deal, or they introduce you to a new connection? What happens, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's such a better mindset shift. And I think you're 100% right. It definitely is just limited mindset. I feel like for me, and I think about that. I'm like, like you said, yeah, let's go ahead, because it takes a lot to start something from scratch and to do it. And having a machine already there, be able to plug in, and it sounds nice to me. Something honestly, as an entrepreneur, sometimes I'm like, it sounds real nice just having a job, going somewhere, it's laid out, I know exactly what to do, and you have to deal with all the stress, all the other stuff. And but yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, just having that opportunity for them where there's value being sent back and forth both ways. I think that's a great explanation on that. So I am sorry, Lamented Christian. Got it. I'm so bad at reading their usernames. Lamented Christian said, what's the best way to get leads / data when starting out besides driving for dollars? So I'll let you guys answer that one.
Well, the best way, in my opinion, right, if I was to do this all over, I'd go network with individuals, share and collaborate with guys like me. I have so much data that I'm looking for partners, right? I'm looking for people to partner up with, because I have so much data. I have so many records. Here's another way, right? You go to an event like Kai's event on Saturday. I believe he's giving out free leads. You got to take opportunities like that. You network with the people that are there, because they're there to share knowledge. They're there to exchange information. So that's another one, right? Driving for dollars. That's the way you're going to hit home runs. On one of my first deals was driving for dollars, $36,000. And all I did was call somebody and say, hey, are you interested in selling your house? I didn't know what I was doing at that time. They said, yes. Cool. What do I do next? I have no idea. But that was the best list, and it still is the best list. We get some of our biggest deals from it because nobody's attacking it. There's a system for individuals. If you want to do cold calling, by all means, you can go pull leads. And I don't know, you can go pull leads. I believe it's 10,000 per day if you wanted to, from a system called PropWire, right? That's a lead provider, right? I like PropStream, but PropWire is a free tool that's out there, and you can pull your leads, and you can do absentee owners, you can do tax delinquents, you can do, I believe they have probates. Pull those leads, skip trace them through whichever skip trace provider Kai has, and use that. There's a lot of ways. The biggest way is networking, though. That is the biggest way, is to network with individuals, and not network to be like, hey man, what do you do for your business, and what do you do for life, and this and that. I'm sorry, what do you do for business, and what do you do for generating leads? Don't ask those questions. Network with a person to actually learn who they are, and guess what? They're going to like, know, and trust you, and they're just going to want to do business with you naturally. So that's one of the biggest ways.
That's huge. Yeah, there's a lot of gold nuggets there. Yeah, and driving for dollars is great too. Like you said, like that's how I got my first couple deals, and like just your list, nobody else is working it, like Frank said. For me, I like code violations. I like pulling them directly from the county. We do it in a bunch of different markets virtually, and I like to mark when they come out, be the first one to get them, and just try to jump on it before everybody else. I think, like I said, networking is huge. I think one of the biggest gold nuggets you just dropped there was, because I used to be like that when I first started networking, was, I just came in, just focused on what's in it for me, what's in it for me. And then like when I focused on actually just having a conversation and meeting that person and seeing how can I add value to them, that's when I really started to build real connections and, get value in networking. And finally, it took me a long time, but finally I said like, oh, this is why people talk about networking and why it's so important.
I think Cecilia's appointments for our closing. So she's got to go chase the money, right? Not chase the money. They literally just come to us. Don't ever chase money, guys and girls. The money's waiting in our lobby right now. So she's going to go handle that business real quick. If we're still on, she'll jump on. But she's going to go.
Thank you, Kai.
$3,000.
If I don't see you, or if I'm not jumping on here, can't wait for Saturday. I'm super excited.
I'm excited too. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. And if you guys have any questions, unfortunately, they didn't get answered yet. We'll probably do this for a bit if they still have time. But Saturday, make sure you grab your tickets, and there'll be a Q&A so you can get all your questions answered.
Thank you.
So on Saturday, guys, I encourage everybody, if you're watching this, go there, because there's going to be value. I've seen the lineup. I see the structure of the event, and man, I'm just like, okay, this is a well thought out event. It's going to take you from where you are today, and it's actually going to literally shift you as you're working through and experiencing this event. What this is not just, hey guys, we're going to sit down and tell you. You're actually going to experience it. So I highly encourage you to go out there this Saturday. I mean, it's literally 6 hours or 6 hours. Sorry, it's from what time is it? 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock?
So doors open at 8:30, and then we'll be there till 7. 7.
If I could go back in time and start somewhere and learn from somebody, I'd go to an event just like this, because they're going to literally provide me all the information, what to say, the actual data, the leads to call, people there to help me close up and lock up a deal, and even sell the deal. So I'm going to literally earn while I learn. So I encourage you to go out there. I would do that. I would go out there and invest one full day in me, because we want to be investors as we're starting this out, right? You say you want to be an investor. Well, the first investment that you have to make is in yourself. So go out to this event. I believe it's free, right?
It is. Yeah, it's completely free. Yeah, my goal is to give more value than the biggest paid events, absolutely free. And then if you come here and you still don't know what to do, wholesale might not be for you. It's literally not only you're getting everything Frank just mentioned, you're going to be able to network with hundreds of people. So many people registered, it's crazy. But you're also getting scripts, contracts. I'm giving you my whole wholesaling course for free too. So my goal is you come here, you can get everything you need for free. I literally couldn't think of anything else to give away that someone would need to start wholesaling, or I would have thrown it into, but this is it. Literally, you don't know where to start. You want to take your business to the next level. You have to show up.
So people are going to say, well, it sounds too good to be true, Kai. Why are you giving this all the way for free?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So really, I found the more I do it, selfishly, the more I do it, the more people I meet, the more deals I end up doing. We're talking about networking, and I did it just for to build an event I wanted. So if I could go, I'm not super extrovert. It's a lot easier if I do my own event and people come to me. and I can just do it how I want to. So, what's my perfect event that I'd want to go do? It's this. I didn't see one that was exactly how I wanted it, so I ended up just building it myself. And I find that the more clients I get to, we end up finding people that we know, like, and trust. A few of them end up becoming like close friends, or we do, they end up joining the mastermind, or we'll do deals together in JV. So I know it's like one of my favorite books is The Go Giver by a guy named Bob Burg, and he talks about, just giving so much value and just without expectation, and just watch how things come back to you. And same with Alex Hormozi. He talks about it all the time, just give, and just, watch what happens. And I thought it was crazy, when I first heard this, I'm like, that sounds dumb. Like, I don't think that's real. But I said, I'm always trying to be humble enough to be like, hey, whatever, maybe I don't know. Let's give it a try. And the last couple of years of my life, that's all I've done. And it's been crazy, like, just seeing like the blessings in my life, and just all the, like, how much, I don't know, like looking back a couple of years ago, surprising, like, where I am now compared to then. And it's just been, if I could put it on one thing, it's just been having that go-giver mentality and giving as much as I can. So, and then this event was like, how much I kind of challenged myself to see how much can you really give? Like, how serious are you about seeing if this works? And, let's do it. So this is it.
Yeah. That's immense value. I know for a fact that easily you could charge $2,500. How do I know that? Because that's what I used to charge to attend our events. And so for the amount of value that you're giving for free, I'm like, how's it giving away for free? Because I know all that costs money. And so don't answer that right now. What I'm saying is there's so much value that if a person literally invests their time, their sweat equity, just go and attend this event, guys. I really want to encourage you. Go shake Kai's hand, introduce yourself, take a selfie with him, right? That's one tip I'll give you, is take a selfie with the people that are there at the event, because later on it's going to be their birthday. Tag them for their birthday, right? Later on, they're going to do something big, and you're going to do something big, and you'll be like, hey, I remember when I went to this one event that changed my life, and I have a record of it. Do those things. That's a quick little tip that I've learned along the way.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. I feel like it stands out so much more, and people actually appreciate that, as opposed to like, wow, it's a thoughtful thing you can do. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of energy, but it stands out so much more than like, someone just randomly sending you a DM being like, hey, let me pick your brain.
I delete those right away. I don't. So sorry if you message me to pick my brain. Pick my brain by showing up here and giving me some leads, and we can work together. That's how we can pick our brains. I
love that. Yeah, I think someone wants something like, I hate when people say pick your brain because it sounds painful. I'm like, oh, it does. Something you got like a lobotomy or something. But it's awful words choice.
Cool, man. What else you got? You got this event going on. What else you got going on?
Man, that's about it. That's been my whole focus the last couple months. And I've been asking myself that same question that everyone's been asking me, like, why are you doing this for free? And, so that's been the main focus. I'm excited really just to get to the weekend. I'm excited now it's so close, and we have all our friends flying in, and it's going to be a super fun weekend. We're doing a mixer on Friday. So really just looking forward to this weekend. I think then after that, I think me and Bree are going to go to the beach for a little bit, and then just kind of map out what's next. Cause it's been we just been go for a while. So I haven't really taken time to map out, our goals and how they should be, and like what our next focus is.
No, that's good. I do want to leave with this little tidbit of information is when people are starting out in wholesaling, right? You said it a few minutes ago. We don't know if it's for me, right? I didn't know when I started was wholesaling for me. It sounded too good to be true. I was literally at a gym. I was listening to a podcast, and I was like, this sounds way too good to be true. There's no way you can make $20,000 just by calling somebody and seeing if they want to sell their house and connecting it to somebody else or selling it to somebody else, the assignment. I was just thinking to myself, I don't know, let me try it. Long story short, fast forward to now, we're going on a few good years, right? A long while now that we've been doing it, but you won't know until you actually go and try it, right? And I think a lot of people get stuck in their way. Here's one limiting belief that I have. I know in my heart of hearts, my gut, it keeps on telling me, Frank, do a podcast. Kind of like what you do, right? Because you're going to network with a lot of people faster. You have a lot of knowledge. You can ask questions, this and that. But my limiting belief says, I don't want to do it. It's too painful, right? Or I don't have the time, the excuses. But if you just keep on listening to those things, then 5 years is going to pass on, 10 years is going to pass on, 15 years is going to pass on. By the time you're going to know, you're going to be old and gray and be like, damn, time flew by. I had a good life, but I could have done all this other stuff with myself, for myself. Could have taken a chance. I could have taken a risk, but now I'm older. I got to be careful with what I'm doing. So I encourage anybody who's either on the fence of, hey, I don't know if I want to go because it's in San Antonio, or hey, maybe the traffic's, I don't know, whatever excuse it is. It's a BS excuse. It's a BS story. It's literally just, it's all bullshit, man. All the bad stuff that we tell ourselves, they're bullshit stories. And so I encourage you to go out there, make a difference for yourself, do something uncomfortable each and every single day. I do every single day. It doesn't allow me to go home without doing something stupid. I say stupid because in my brain, that's my old mentality, is like, oh, that's silly, man. Whether it's like dancing or whatever it is, right? Just do something uncomfortable. Reach out to the people that you love dearly, right? Because that's one of our biggest drivers is the people that we love, the people that we're doing it for. So always remind yourself of that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And if you still have time, let me know if you have to go. I know you guys have a lot going on today in particular, but I'd love to talk about mindset. And then one of the things you just said really resonates with me, because that's probably one of my biggest drivers, is like that fear of being an old man and like having all these things that I wanted to do or that I thought maybe I could have done, and like having to die without knowing, like, what was, if it was possible or not, or could have. Like, I'd rather try and know, like, hey, no, whatever didn't work, than just like having that unknown my whole life and being in the back of my head being like, I'm too old now. I can't do it. I'm on my deathbed. I wish I did all those things, and living a life full of regrets.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, as a guy, right, people call, I guess, my age group, I'm 43 now. I know I look like I'm 21, but we can easily get caught in that, hey, go through the midlife crisis. My midlife crisis was, cool, get my health back in shape, right? That's one of the things. It's not a big vice or going drinking or buying a sports cars and all. I can do all that if I wanted to. But, my thing is giving back, one, and then more importantly, giving back to myself, is not to be selfish, but because if I don't take care of myself, then who's going to take care of me, right? When you get older, everything just changes, right? So if I'm the older, because the team the team that is entrusted to me, they're all a bunch of 20-year-olds, right? Maybe a 30-year-old here and there. So I've got some years on them. And so it's my job to make sure that not my job, it's my responsibility to make sure that I pass on the lessons that I've learned so that they can just at least hear it. And then me back it up with some stories or some analogies. That way they don't leave here, when I say here, this planet, with any regrets, right? I always tell them, hey man, shoot big, shoot or shoot, right? We can't score, we don't shoot. And so for me, for example, when I started this, I always wanted to go to a Grant Cardone conference. But at the time, I didn't like to fly. I didn't like to leave San Antonio. I had all these excuses, the money, be out there by myself. And then Mike goes, hey, man, I bought you a ticket for Grant Cardone. I go, oh, cool. He's like, yeah, we're all going. Oh, cool. And we're all going VIP. Oh, crap. Okay. And we rented this big old Airbnb, and we're taking care of this, and that. And I was like, okay, well, that's check mark, right? That's a vision board type of thing. So we went to that experience. It was one of the most life-changing things that I've ever witnessed myself. One, to see the vision of a man with a purpose who's driven to fill up a stadium. I look around and I'm just like, holy man, all people are here for, because this guy did such a phenomenal job in his marketing, and then he followed up with sales. And so it was a stadium, I think we're in Miami. Yeah, in Miami. And it was filled wall to wall with people, right? So that shifted my perspective. Fast forward, we're doing our own events, and not as big as Grant Cardone, because Grant Cardone's a big name, but our rooms are jam-packed, standing room. Our first one was standing room. There was not enough space. And I was like, I didn't account for this. How did what happened? And so to go from where I was to where I am, it's because I don't want to leave with a lot of regrets. There's some things I still want to work out, right? There's some things that I'm still holding on to, and I don't want to leave this planet without exploring those things. Another thing was having a closer, and when you talk to me, it'll be more about life, right? A closer relationship with my wife, with Cecilia. Well, Cecilia, she started out as the person greeting you at the door for all of our events. She'd be, oh, what's your name? Register, right? Cool. She liked that. She excelled at that. Transformed her into, she did lead management for us when we were doing big SMS campaigns. So she was doing that. She was really good at that. But during that time, my relationship with her became more business, became transactional, right? And so I don't want to have that regret of going through that pain again, because I went through a divorce the first time and it's not fun. And if you're going through one, feel free to reach out to me. I have some insight, some pointers and all that good stuff, right? I like to talk about life. And so I didn't want to have that regret of, okay, cool, we're making money, we're being successful, but at what cost? And so that regret that I didn't want to be with or hold on to was, okay, Cecilia, I'm gonna work on myself better to be better for us, our marriage, our family, our business, and things of that. And so now everything just flourishes because I'm pouring myself into my relationship with her, with God, and everything that comes along with it, with business, that everything just starts to flourish and everything starts to flow. So when I say don't leave this place with regrets, there's no reason to leave with this place. A lot of people say, well, I'm too shy to be on social media and stuff like that. I want to know what your story is. I'm curious to know what your story is. I would love to see someone else on their come up. I would have loved to have documented my own come up so I can be like, oh, cool. Instead of my little short stories, I want to hear your story. Put yourself out there, people. Put yourself out there. That way we have that record and you don't leave this planet with regret, should have, could have, would have.
Yeah, no, I love that. So now I know you're huge on mindset. One thing I noticed about you too is you're very intentional with your word choice. And I know we've talked before. That's how we kind of first connected. Because that event where we found out that I think Mike already told me that you're super into mindset stuff. And I'm like, oh, I am too. And what if someone's listening and they're struggling with it? They haven't really, gone too deep into all the mindset stuff, or don't know if it's woo-woo or whatever. What advice would you give to them to kind of go from a negative, fixed mindset to start, opening up their mindset a bit and going to the other side?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, right? Because there's so many answers that you can go with. There's so many doors that you can open, right? One, I think the biggest one is know that you're deserving. You're deserving as an individual, that you deserve all the goodness that's out there, right? You deserve the good leads. You deserve success. You deserve good relationships. You deserve good health. Once you realize that you do deserve, not that you're entitled to it, but that you deserve it because that's how we're born, everything just starts to be like, yeah, you know what? I do deserve that. Not because I'm walking with an ego, but because that's who I am. That's who I was born. I have that essence in me that's, okay, yeah, you know what? This is for me, or this wasn't for me. Whether it's a yes or a no, as long as you get a yes or a no, that's the beauty of it. I don't like maybes. I'm going somewhere with this. It's like when we're calling our sellers or our buyers and they give me a quick yes, awesome, we're making money. They give me a quick no, great, let me move on to this next one. When they tell me maybe, one, I know that they're very indecisive people. Two is, okay, now I'm holding on to a hope. If I'm starting out, well, they said maybe they want it. And then so now I'm stopping all my efforts because I'm holding on to this maybe. Once we get rid of that maybe in our lives, that's when we know that, cool, we walk with purpose. I can get a yes, I can get a no. Just give me a solid response. And once you start listening to that little voice that we all hear, right? Everybody has chatter. Everybody hears something in their brain. Once you start listening to the good one, not the bad one, because we have the bad one too, right? Once you start listening to the good one and taking action on that one, you're going to see your life change. You're going to see that deservingness come out, and then you're going to flow into appreciation. Appreciation for the experiences, what we label as good or bad, both of them serve us. So yeah, deservingness, in my opinion, helps you shift, knowing that you are here for a reason. We all are here for a reason. Kai, one of Kai's reasons for us exchanging information and value was, I said at the beginning, right? I've been successfully hiding behind the scenes. Kai's been relentless in his follow-up to get me on to do one of these. I'm doing it. I'm flowing. I'm like, oh, okay, this is not so bad. I'm going to say, now everybody's reached out to me. I'm going to be like, hey man, you want to put me on? That's one of the purposes. The other purpose that Kai's put on here is to help people, right? He's just a genuinely good person. He wants to help somebody change something because of whatever happened in his life and his story, right? And he's like, cool, let me make a difference. And so all of us are here for something, but if you can know that you are here and you belong and you deserve, it's all good.
I love that, man. That's very powerful. Yeah, I'm hoping you guys, listen to that, go back, listen to that again. That's super powerful, man. Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing. And yeah, no, it's 100% true. And I know, same for me. I learned to start changing my mindset, so my life radically changed for the better. And then real quick, do you want to get to these questions answered? And I'll let you go. Limited question said, when starting out, what would you take the leap from wholesaling part-time to full-time?
When I have money in the bank, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, whatever those cliches are, right? Because there are going to be lean months. And then when I have a consistent lead flow, I'm not talking about, hey, I spent X amount of dollars and I got 10 leads. I'm talking about lead flow from qualifying the lead to converting the lead into somebody who's interested in getting an offer to getting a contract, right? So I think everybody wants a dollar amount. I don't know what that dollar amount for you is specifically for that person asking. But when you have a consistent lead flow to conversion to opportunity to contract, and when you dial that in, definitely take the leap. So for example, when I took the leap, I literally just showed up. I quit my job. Not a lot of people know this. I quit my job because I didn't know you were not supposed to quit your job. I was getting 6 figures at that time. I went to an event similar to this. I was like, oh, I bet on myself, I can do this. I literally quit my job. I showed up to the office the next day. They didn't really talk to me at that time. I don't know, whatever. That's neither here nor there. I stayed there. I kept on showing up every single day for 2 months straight until they called me into the office and they're like, hey man, how come you're here every single day? And I'm just like, because this is what I do. I'm supposed to show up every single day. I didn't know, right? That's the goodness of being naive. Well, I'm supposed to show up. I'm supposed to get deals. Like what? They never knew anybody to take action like that, or never knew that existed. And long story short, after that, they started pouring into me knowledge as far as real estate knowledge and things like that. The sales already had the sales skill, but when that right point is, your gut will tell you, hey, I think it's time for you to make that leap, and it's going to be so scary and it's going to be so exciting at the same time. But you're going to know when it is to take that right leap.
I love that, man. No, that's huge. And I think really just showing up and having that is, not knowing anybody, just showing up and showing up and showing up. Like things happen when you show up. So yeah, that's huge. So man, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I have a ton of other questions for you. I'm saving for the event this weekend where I'll keep you here all day. But what's the best way for people to connect with you on social media to learn more about all the cool stuff you guys are doing, Inspired Buyers, and connect with you guys?
Yeah. So if you want to see the closings that we do, Facebook, of course, Frank Tovar, IG, Real Frank Tovar. You check out, we share a lot of information. I like to highlight more of our closings, contracts. Every once in a while, we'll give tidbits as far as behind the scenes and whatnot. If you really, really want to take it a step further and reach out to me directly, Frank@inspiredbuyers.com. Frank@inspiredbuyers.com. You just want to open up a dialogue, have a conversation, by all means. I'll be at the event. Ask me anything and everything. Whenever you sit in front of me, I literally tell you, hey man, we have 15 minutes or whatever time we have. Whatever your agenda is, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what you want to talk about, and I'll answer everything transparently.
I love that, man. Yeah, definitely take him up on that. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's somebody I go to when I need advice on things, and definitely he's a great person, man. So I'm grateful to be able to call you a friend. I'm grateful to all your support, man. I'm grateful for the event. I'm super excited to see both you and Cecilia, the rest of the team there. And I'm excited, man. Any closing final thoughts for everybody?
Yeah, just be out there, be good people, do business ethically, right? I like to think that Inspired Buyers is the standard. But more than anything, bet on yourself, man. Go out there, make a difference for yourself. If you want to make the world a better place, if you know those lyrics, those are really true now more than ever. Look at yourself, right? And make that change. Michael Jackson.
I love it. But man, we'll definitely have to do this again. The next one we'll have to do in person for sure. But yeah, thank you everybody for hopping on. If you haven't